Restore the channel capacity and reduce the risk of flooding.
Officials say they are also prepared to help the homeless community during this trying time.
We've opened up our shelters since October, and we continue to see the need for many of our residents and homeless individuals that need to know where to go.
That because of the preparation and the work that is being done right now, our neighborhoods will be safe.
As the city prepares for El Nino, city officials are also urging Angelenos to have a plan in place for potential flooding. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
For any additional information or emergency updates, you can log on to elninola.com. Well, former tenants take Airbnb to court. The online rental platform and building owners are named in a lawsuit claiming wrongful evictions. The plaintiffs claim to be victims of the so-called new sharing economy. Gil Reyes has more from the Fairfax District.
I just want justice. I mean, he broke the law. Our landlord broke the law.
Ronald Fontenot is one of 5 former tenants fighting to get their old apartments back from what they call a shady landlord.
He was allowed to remove us from our apartments, but he lied to us because he didn't take it off the market.
Under California's Ellis Act, landlords can evict tenants if they take their properties off the rental market. But plaintiffs say that's not what happened here. Plaintiffs say the landlord turned the apartments into short-term rental units shortly after the evictions in 2014, advertising the units on the Airbnb website, then charging new renters up to 10 times the old rent. Airbnb is also a defendant in the case. Area Councilman Paul Koretz says such practices are growing and need to stop.
Yeah, this is a clear violation of everything that makes sense in the city of Los Angeles. We're facing a record level of homelessness, and yet we've taken thousands and thousands of units off the market through Airbnb.
Plaintiffs say turning the 4 apartments into a pseudo-hotel with a revolving door of tenants is ruining the neighborhood.
And now today, we haven't been here for about a year and a half, and today we've met a lot of our neighbors that we used to know. Everybody's hugging and kissing us and saying it's been hell for them to live next door to it.
28 people living in this unit as a hotel. And you don't know who these people are. There's a school across the street.
As of deadline time for this story, no reaction from Airbnb or the building owner. In the Fairfax District, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Plaintiffs are demanding the right to return. They also want their old rental fees, which average around $1,800 a month per unit. While many of LA's movers and shakers are working to make sure LA's future transit growth is good for Angelenos, Anna Marcos takes us to the LA Thrives Big Table, where some ideas of the future are born.
It's a sign of the changing times when a transit agency literally goes off the rails to focus not just on transportation, but on the community around its tracks. This LA Thrives Big Table Luncheon brings together Metro officials, business leaders, and local groups to talk about sustainability and how transit growth can benefit all Angelenos.
Who could not notice the fact that we're spending $40 billion here in LA County to double the size of our transit system and the impact that it will have on our neighborhoods.
Metro board leaders themselves have decided they can no longer focus only on trains and buses. That LA's changing environment forces them to get involved in housing, the community, and the environment.
There are few other public assets that can be more profoundly impactful and change and enhance a community, like the issue of transportation infrastructure.
Metro has already committed to making 35% of the housing on its property affordable housing, and it's making a $10 million investment to expand housing and to keep small businesses in communities. But the goal doesn't stop there.
We really want to say we spent $40 billion. We got healthier people because they're walking more. We got cleaner air. We got reduced greenhouse gas emissions. We got less congested freeways, people on the train, on the buses, a healthier community.
And it looks like this networking event is already off to a healthy start. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
For more information, visit lathrives.org. Well, for the 5th consecutive year, the city has been seeing record-breaking growth in LA tourism. Rasha Goel has more on the numbers and stats.
We see no letting up of bookings even in these last couple weeks.
Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti just talked about record-breaking numbers in LA tourism. Now, according to him, there has been an increase of 1.3 million people visiting Los Angeles over 2014.
Last year welcomed to the City of Angels a new record of 45.5 million visitors. Today, more people choose to work, live, study, and visit Los Angeles than ever in our history.
The growth in tourism has had a great impact on the economy and jobs.
In direct spend, those 45 million folks spent almost $19 billion in our hotels, our restaurants, taxi cabs, things like that.
In Los Angeles, we have nearly 500,000 jobs, 464,000 to be exact, that come from our leisure and hospitality industry, which includes tourism.
Part of the growth is contributed to a huge increase in tourism from China to Los Angeles. More than 779,000 Chinese tourists visited Los Angeles last year.
We are a destination not only for our natural beauty, mountains and beaches, our theme parks, our world-famous landmarks, but also for folks who want to do business with the third largest metropolitan economy in the world.
Visitors from South Korea also spiked with an increase of 11% over the last year. With Los Angeles being a connecting hub to 67 cities and 34 countries, airport officials are successfully moving forward with the modernization program at LAX.
LA World Airports is spending over $8 billion to improve the guest experience by rebuilding and modernizing its terminals, making changes to the airport's dining retail offerings, and upgrading our technology in a very significant way.
It is our goal and our vision to ensure that the millions of travelers that use LAX have an airport experience that is purely world-class.
After all, we can't expect anything less in a world-class city. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
LAX is the 5th busiest airport in the world. While a new homelessness report addresses ways to get people off the streets, LA's lawsuit against SoCalGas garners more support, and LA's newest pro soccer team unveils its newest logo. All these stories and more in City Beat. The City of Los Angeles released a draft homelessness strategy report, which lays the foundation for a regional approach to addressing this chronic issue. The report represents a commitment shared by Mayor Eric Garcetti and the City Council to scale up best practices for getting people off the streets and into homes. The report calls for substantially expanding staffing, services, rental subsidies, and permanent housing for the city's homeless residents. Its recommendations will guide the mayor's and city council's short and long-term homelessness policy decisions. The report also identifies potential funding streams and begins to estimate initial costs that will help inform the mayor's proposed 2016-2017 budget. City Attorney Mike Feuer announced that the County of Los Angeles has joined his suit against the Southern California Gas Company over the ongoing public health emergency at their natural gas facility near Porter Ranch. Feuer said the move is an important development to end this disaster, get relief for residents, and ensure nothing like this happens again. The leak began in October, forcing thousands of residents to move because of health concerns. Mayor Eric Garcetti joined the Los Angeles Football Club, LA's newest pro soccer team, to officially unveil its logo and colors at LA's Union Station. The pitch black and California gold colors are meant to embody the success, urban texture, and glamour of Los Angeles. The LA monogram incorporates a wing intended to pay homage to the City of Angels with its power, mobility, and aspirational nature. The 4 blades represent the 4 club pillars and the city's founding date of September 4th, 1781. The Los Angeles Football Club will be an expansion franchise for Major League Soccer, beginning play in 2018. Before the new year, Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell hosted a city employee appreciation luncheon, serving everyone's favorite, Pink's hot dogs. The event was held at Fire Station 6 on Virgil Avenue. The goal was to bring the city family together and express gratitude for their hard work in the 13th District, from beautification projects to helping provide services for the homeless.
It's my way of giving thanks at the end of the year for all of the great work that city employees and nonprofit agencies have done in my district.
A new cafe and juice bar at Pacoima City Hall could provide the economic jolt the area needs. As Gil Reyes reports, art, tourism, and fresh produce are all part of the recipe.
Cafe O Muerte coffee shop and Fruta y Cultura juice bar. Both just opened, both expected to give Pacoima a much-needed energy boost.
We're doing it with local produce being grown by our neighbors.
This ribbon cutting, more than just a celebration of two new businesses opening up, but also what Councilman Felipe Fuentes calls social enterprise.
A customer who comes and enjoys a simple cup of coffee doesn't realize that the money spent on this is attacking a lot of policy challenges in our community.
Problems like unemployment, lack of healthy food options, and the absence of a true arts and cultural hub in Pacoima. But that may be changing. Over a cup of joe, Councilman Fuentes reveals that many of the young people behind the counter are from the Youth Policy Institute, working students earning money for college. Both businesses are also just steps away from a new open-air museum. It's expected to house a revolving door of art themes year-round. The hope is visiting art lovers with money to spend will also love juice and coffee.
We had the second annual Day of the Dead Festival in November that got a lot of attention.
The juice bar also buys its produce fresh from local growers Eldwin and Noemi Herrera.
And now we volunteer and we go help other families put on their own beds and grow their food. Right?
I mean, it's mind-blowing, right? I mean, we grew up in the city and men taught us how to grow our own food, and now we're doing it, and now we're going to provide it for our community. It's exciting.
And make money.
And make money. We're exciting.
So come get a taste of the new Van Nuys Boulevard in Pacoima.
Celebrate the art, celebrate a great street, and a great cup of coffee.
How was the coffee,
Cacao latte. Delicious.
For LA This Week, I'm Gil Reyes.
Cyclists are invited to stop by when Ciclavia rolls through Pacoima in March. While families in North Hollywood are celebrating new improvements at a local park, and the kids can't seem to get enough. These youngsters are playing tag on the new playground just installed at the North Hollywood Recreation Center on Chandler Avenue in the San Fernando Valley. And they're having a blast.
The things that are called doors. You swing from door to door to door to door until you get to the top. I just made that name up.
City officials and community members gathered recently for the official ribbon cutting. The new playground will serve more than 1,500 local children ages 2 to 12 and countless visitors.
I like having fun here.
The nature-inspired design offers plenty of space to play for many kids at once, while the 6 sail canopies provide shade.
Oh, this is nice. This is very good for the kids. I have 2 girls. They're both, we love going here.
There's also new rubberized safety surfacing, which replaces a sand pit area, allowing access to children and parents of all abilities and reducing maintenance costs. And for Councilmember Paul Krikorian, it's these kinds of accomplishments he loves the most.
You see these kids who are building memories right now, and they're building physical strength and health, they're building character.
Paul Krikorian said that 15,000 people live near the park, and at least 10% are young kids who will now be using this playground. Future plans include additional lighting and summer youth and arts programs. Get your fill of vintage rock with the classic sounds of the band Dawes. Enjoy the LA River as it comes alive at night, and a unique mystery dinner show will keep you guessing all evening long. That's all in this week's Things to Do.
Standing still.
LA's own folk rock band Dawes hits the stage for a one-night performance. Dawes was formed from the band Simon Dawes after the departure of co-songwriter Blake Mills, subsequently abandoning a post-punk sound in favor of folk rock. Dawes has been described as having a Laurel Canyon sound derived from artists such as Crosby, Stills and Nash, Joni Mitchell, and Neil Young. The band recorded their debut album North Hills in Laurel Canyon in a live setting to analog tape, resulting in a sound that Rolling Stone magazine called authentically vintage. You can hear that sound live and in person on Saturday, January 23rd at the Theater Ace Hotel, located at 929 South Broadway at 8 p.m. For more, visit dawestheband.com.
Enjoy the LA River under the stars with the LA River Night Run, a mini festival-style event that features open fields along the LA River and includes a 5K fun run, games, live music, giveaways, a vegan taco bar, a fire pit with s'mores, and free beer. The LA River Night Run series is meant to highlight the beautiful nature and public project advancements of the river at night within an activity-filled, family-friendly atmosphere. Headlamps and warm clothes are highly suggested. Throw on your running shoes on Sunday, January 24th, and head to 2800 Casitas Avenue at 7 p.m. for all the fun. The Dinner Detective is the largest interactive comedic murder mystery dinner show in the U.S. The popular shows are set in the present day. Performers are dressed just like everyone else, leaving all of the guests to suspect who is a part of the show and who's not. In many instances, guests are seated with the performers and don't even realize it until they die. The performers, that is. Each ticket includes a 4-course meal, interactive show, prizes, and more. Find out who done it on Saturday, January 23rd at 6 p.m. at Vitello's Restaurant, located at 4349 Tujunga Avenue in Studio City. For more, visit thedinnerdetective.com. And that's a look at some things to do.
Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kay. And from all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Saving energy is simple. It even saves you money. Replace incandescent light bulbs with compact fluorescent bulbs. Set your thermostat to 78 degrees or higher in the summer. Weather seal your home. When replacing old appliances, select Energy Star qualified appliances that are up to 40% more efficient and unplug electronic devices when not in use. Visit ladwp.com for more energy-saving tips and information. Save energy, save money.
If you're in an accident, just stay. Call 911. Help if you can. You might save someone's life. Obey the rules of the road.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm an Iyengar yoga teacher here in Los Angeles, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, Our City, Our Channel. Namaste.
Council members, please start making your way to council chambers. Council members, Blumenfield. Council members, Bonnet, Martinez, O'Farrell. Council members, please make your way to council chambers. Blumenfield, Cedillo, Huizar, Krikorian, Martinez, and Price. Council members, Bond, Buscaino, Fuentes, Harris, Dawson, Perez, Farrell, Wesley. Uno más cancejar, Pablo. Good morning and welcome to your Los Angeles City Council. Today is Friday, January 22nd. I'm Councilmember Mitchell Englander, and I want to welcome all of you to City Hall today. And we are live streaming on the internet as well as Channel 35. Madam Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Blumenfield, Bond, and Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Harris Dawson, Huizar, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson. 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Great. Thank you very much. First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Okay. We'll have Mr. Bond moves and Mr. Buscaino seconds. Next item, please.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Fuentes moves. Mr. Harris Dawson seconds. Next item, please.
Mr. President, there are requests to continue 1H and 1N for 3 weeks to February 12, 2016, and to continue 1O for 30 days to February 23, 2016.
Very well. That'll be the order without objection. Thank you. Next item, please.
Further, the Department of Building and Safety recommends that the following items be received and filed. Items 1B, 1F, and 1G, as the liens have been paid in full, and item 1J, as the lien was rescinded by the department.
All right. Nice to clear those. We'll go ahead and do that without objection. That'll be the order. Next item, please.
Items 1, 2, and 3 are items noticed for public hearing.
Okay. We'll go ahead and hold those.
There are cards on item 1.
All right. We'll go ahead and hold that as well. Next item. Yeah, we'll go ahead and vote on 2 and 3 then. Please open the roll. Close the roll. And tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Great, thank you. Next items, please.
Items 4 through 8 are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll on those. Seeing no specials, we'll go ahead and close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Those are approved. Next items, please.
Items 9 through 12 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, those are being considered now. We'll go ahead and open the roll for consideration. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
10 ayes.
Okay, and do we have cards?
Yes, there are cards on all items, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Of course. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hold those for cards. Next item, please.
Mr. President, that takes council back to presentations, items called special or general public comment.
We'll go into general public comment. All right, you know what? We'll go back to general public comment later. We'll start with item 10, Eric Previn. Morning, Mr. Previn.
Good morning, Mr. Englander. It's Eric Previn from CD2. Item number 10 is Huizar Fuentes' motion. And these are we're doing revenue bonds. Now, revenue bonds are interesting. This one's for $15 million. It's in CD14, and it's to facilitate. It's actually to help out with acquisition, rehabilitation, and improvement of a multifamily and senior affordable housing project called Mission Village. So folks who know about Mission Village Apartments will be excited to hear that a good-sized chunk is coming down the road, and we'll be paying the costs associated with the bond, obviously, so thank you for that. And we do want upgrades to places like this one assumes. I always am curious about whether or not anybody showed up at the meetings, and there was one on, actually there's one coming up, a hearing on February 9th, 2016 at 10 a.m. right here in City Hall. So I would check that out. And we got another one for $20 million coming up at item 12. So whenever I see this, I get worried because, I mean, I'm happy that we're dealing with the affordable housing piece, but by building up the cost going forward, it's tricky. But so let's keep an eye on this. That's a minute. Thanks.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll on that item. Close the roll and tabulate the vote. You're disrupting the meeting, sir. You're disrupting the meeting.
11 ayes.
You're disrupting the meeting. Please sit down. You're disrupting the meeting. Okay, I'm going to ask you one last time, or I'll ask you to leave the chambers. You're disrupting the meeting. Fair and final. Okay, so, sergeants, if you can please escort him out of the room. I've warned you 4 times, sir, that you're disrupting the meeting. You'll be escorted out of the room for the remaining balance of this. Daniel Gus, now you're threatening the officers. Please don't threaten the officers. Officers, please escort Mr. Gus outside. He's rejected for the rest of this meeting. He's still disrupting this meeting. We will wait until he is escorted outside of council chambers. Have a nice weekend, sir. All right. We apologize. Sometimes people disrupt the meeting and trying to get the people's work done, so I appreciate that. Sergeants, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and go to item 9. We've got Eric Previn. Mr. Previn is not here, so we'll go ahead and...
What item was it?
9.
Okay, thank you. I'm so sorry. I was trying to facilitate that guy getting back into the meeting because there was some confusion about his card. Would you invite him back to the meeting, sir? That's not appropriate to throw someone out of a meeting.
Stay on the subject.
Okay,
if you're
I
not
will.
on the subject matter, you're going to be asked
item number 9,
to step away.
Item number 9 is a motion by Cedillo and Buscaino. And I would like to refer to it. First of all, this is a nice one. Thank you, Mr. Buscaino, for what he's doing is he's amending a prior council action, which was one of my least favorite kinds of council actions. It was an onerous set of fees and fines and liens and whatnot. And what this guy's done is he's reconsidered. So thank you, Mr. Buscaino. He's lowered it down to just a grand total of $592. The original fine was much larger, something like $2,000. So this is a substantial downward move, and it's much appreciated. And one can speculate what must have happened. I would guess, because we've seen it before, that the landlord failed to notify Mr. Buscaino's constituent, which is we've seen before. Sometimes the landlord does not notify the rabbi, as in Mr. Kretz's district last week, and then the rabbi is left with a bill. And he comes downtown, and in this case it was not a rabbi, I assume it was somebody in Mr. Buscaino's district, and says, Mr. Buscaino, I've had some difficulty. Are you willing to reduce the fee because my landlord didn't notify me, as an example? So today should be known forever as Rabbi Buscaino Day, because I think that anybody who has difficulty with the landlord, who comes down here and says, I've had difficulty with my landlord, whether they're a rabbi or not, should have help from the city. So hopefully, Mr. Englander, we will commemorate that and move forward so that all groups, whether they are religious organizations or just run-of-the-mill folk, will have the same benefit of leniency from Mr. Cedillo's City Hall. And, sir, it is really appreciated that this was reduced, and I know that it gives a sense that City Hall is listening to the public when a big bill is reduced by a great man like Rabbi Buscaino. Thank you, sir.
All righty. Having no other cards on this item, we'll go ahead and... we've got one more. Juan? Pass? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Thank you very much. That passes. We'll go ahead and go into presentations. We've got a presentation by Councilmember Paul Koretz. Special presentation with a very special guest here as well.
Well, good morning, colleagues. I'm honored to be joined today by our county assessor and my former West Hollywood colleague, Jeff Prang. County Assessor Prang is promoting January 2016 as Homeowners Exemption Awareness Month in the County of Los Angeles. And in doing so, his office is providing key information and beneficial understanding to residents throughout the city and County of Los Angeles. Far too many homeowners are unaware of the homeowners exemption that can reduce the taxable value of a property by $7,000 and help homeowners save money on their annual property tax bill. And so I'd like to invite Jeff to come up and say a few words.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Koretz and Mr. President and honorable members of the council. It's great to be here. I know what you're probably all thinking. What a great way to get the morning livened up by hearing a speech from the county property tax assessor. But I have a couple of remarks, but I just wanted to make an announcement before, unrelated to this presentation. But last night was my very first night sleeping in the city of Los Angeles as a resident of the city of LA. After 20 years as a council member in West Hollywood, I'm now a proud constituent of the 8th District. So, and council member, I know all about how local government works. I'll be a fussy constituent. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Last year, the Office of the Assessor reported that there was a 7.2% growth in the assessed value for the city of Los Angeles. And generally speaking, an increase in property values is a good thing. When we normally think about our taxes, we tend to only think about our own homes or property. In fact, out of the nearly 2.4 million parcels of property in LA County, more than 1.8 million are single-family homes. But aside from our own homes, it's also important to remember the crucial role that property taxes play in supporting vital public services, including here for the City of Los Angeles. And if you think about this for a second, before a teacher can walk into a classroom, before a police officer responds to a call for service, and before the council can vote to fund fixing of potholes and sidewalks, a funding source needs to be secured, and that generally is sales taxes and property taxes. So as assessor, it's essential that I do my job efficiently and thoroughly, otherwise there may be tax dollars left on the table that otherwise could be allocated to local government for vital public services. Now, contrary to what a lot of people think, as assessor, I am not a revenue. It's not my job to send you bills or collect your taxes, only to ensure that properties are assessed fairly in accordance with the law. However, revenue is a byproduct of our good work. When values go down, my job is also to fairly record that change despite any negative impact on government revenues. On the other hand, and the reason why I'm here today, it's important for me to make the public aware of a variety of programs that can help property owners save money on their taxes. And the primary tax savings measures are known as exemptions or exclusions, and these are programs that are created to help people save money on their property taxes. There are programs for seniors, for the disabled, for veterans, as well as for the parents transferring their property to their children or grandchildren. But one of the most popular ones is called the homeowner's exemption, which is the reason I'm here today. This exemption, as Councilmember Koretz indicated, reduces a home's assessed value for property tax purposes, which will save you money on your property tax bill. Everybody who owns a home and lives in that home qualifies for this exemption, but it remains that today there are almost 500,000 people in Los Angeles County who don't take advantage of the homeowner's exemption. So I came here today to ask your help in spreading the good word to ensure that people take advantage of this property tax saving mechanism. People can log on to my website at assessor.lacounty.gov to to download a form, or you can call my office at 888-807-2111. So I'm grateful to Councilmember Koretz and to the entire City Council for proclaiming January as Homeowners Exemption Month and helping my office spread the good word to the good people of Los Angeles. Thank you again. It's great to be here.
No, thank you. And let me just say something real quick. Your office is responsible for assessing, what's the total valuation?
$1.3 trillion in LA County.
Say that one more time.
$1.3 trillion of assessed value for Los Angeles County.
It's a huge responsibility, and while you're doing all of that, obviously and I just want to take this opportunity to thank you, because we've been on the phone regularly in what's going on in my district where we have a proclamation of an emergency. A lot of people are panicked about their home values and certainly the property taxes that go along with it. Your team has been exceptional in making sure they're monitoring the activities and keeping everybody up to date and participating in town halls, and you've been right there with us on that. And you know what? You haven't been out there in front of the cameras. You haven't been putting out press releases or politicizing it, just doing the job of the assessor. Right. And I can't thank you enough for that.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're here to help, and we look forward to continue to work together very closely on this issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I'd like to present Jeff and the Assessor's Office a commendation on behalf of the city. And the resolve clause reads, "Now therefore be it resolved that the Los Angeles City Council declares January 2016 to be Homeowners Exemption Awareness Month and is looking forward to collaborating with the Office of the LA County Assessor, Jeff Prang, in sharing the homeowners exemption information with all city taxpayers." So thank you very much, Jeff, for coming here to City Hall and for helping inform taxpayers in Los Angeles about this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's give him another round of applause. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it. Now we have a very special presentation. You ready? Okay. Councilmember Bob Blumenfield.
Jennifer, Abby, sure. Ms. Baker, you guys want to come on up as well?
Councilmember Blumenfield. Is this what? Do you start this off with the King and I?
Yes, you do. The King and I are here today. It's not every day we have this kind of royalty with us. No, it is my, and for those who are not on the inside joke here, I'm here with Kobe King, who is royalty in the San Fernando Valley, but he bears that name, King. And it is my honor to recognize him here today. He is a true leader and a very good friend for many years. He's here today with his wife Jennifer and daughter Abby and his in-laws. And he is currently President and Chief Executive Officer of High Point Strategies. It's one of Southern California's leading public affairs firms where he specializes in strategic and crisis communications and government advocacy. He is a longtime Valley resident who is committed to serving the community both locally, statewide, and nationally. He has served on many important government bodies, boards, commissions, to name a few: the Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority's San Fernando Valley Service Sector Governance Council. I know you must have had trouble saying that each time you went to a meeting. He represented Los Angeles as president of the Van Nuys Airport Citizens Advisory Council. I know you did that for many years, working on all the airport issues and airport noise as well. He was instrumental in achieving a long-delayed airport master plan. He's done so much. He served on the Board of Commissioners of the City of Los Angeles Community Redevelopment Agency and was looking out for how the Valley changes as we move forward. He has served on the California...
I'm sorry, excuse me for 1 second. If we can ask all the conversations that are around this, this is an echo chamber, not just a council chamber, and if we can ask everybody just to keep it down a little. We have royalty in our presence, and I just want to recognize the king in the house, so if we please could. This is a very special presentation. Thank you.
And I'm going to cut out about 20, 30 of the different commissions you've been on because your list is so long. But there are a lot of good ones. I mean, the Western Center on Law and Poverty, you were involved with them and other nonprofits that are serving needy folks. You served as the president of the Board of California Consumer Motor Vehicle Recovery Corporation, whatever that is. I know you've done all sorts of stuff in the Democratic Party. We've been to various state and national conventions together on the various political things. You were on the state executive board. The longtime co-chair of the party's Rules Committee. He's a guy who's been involved, not just in politics and government, but he's an avid hiker. He helps manage Sierra Club Angeles chapter outings. He does a tremendous amount. But the reason we brought him here today is not just the sum of all those wonderful things, but he just spent 2 years as the president of, or the chair of, he's the immediate past chair of the Valley Industry and Commerce Association, VICA. It's one of the region's most influential business advocacy organizations. And as president of VICA, he really pushed for the interests of the San Fernando Valley. And I'm very grateful, and our city is very grateful, especially 40% of the city that lives in the San Fernando Valley, for the work that you have done as VICA and all the other offshoots. He was heading the Valley on Track. I work closely with you on trying to bring real transportation to the Valley, which is something I know you've been committed for years, and we need you to keep that commitment as we move forward into potential ballot measures, because your drive on transportation can make a big difference in the drive and commute of all of us who live in the San Fernando Valley. So, Kobe, we appreciate your leadership, your exceptional service, all you do for the city of Los Angeles, all you do for the San Fernando Valley, all you do for community. And I want to present you with a small token of appreciation for that, specifically naming your recent past president of VICA, but really for all you do. Please accept this small token.
We do have a couple members on the queue.
And I believe he wants to say a word or two.
Just a word or two.
We've got, before you speak, we got a couple members on the queue that wish to speak as well, and then we'll turn over the mic to you, Councilmember Fuentes.
Signed by all the Valley folks. Appreciate it, including Mayor. Great.
Councilmember Fuentes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kobe, I'll be very brief because I know that your stewardship is not going to end here, but I do want to congratulate you and thank you for a job well done. Bob said it very, very well. 40% of this city, 20-odd% of the state in the San Fernando Valley has always fought for its fair share and representation. And I think the work that you led at VICA most recently to help us understand the disparities in funding when it comes to the investment of public transportation has been very, very important. And I firmly believe that this Measure R2, when it gets to the ballot and when it passes, will be a better product because of your work. And it's going to rightfully give all of the residents of Los Angeles connectivity, but in particular, it'll begin to really level the playing field in the San Fernando Valley. So thank you very much. I know you're not going far, but thank you so much, and thank you to your wonderful family for sharing him with us as much as you do. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilmember Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Blumenfield, for bringing Mr. King here so that we can appropriately honor his service. Kobe, I think it's been 20 or so years that we've known each other, and I just want to thank you for making such a lasting mark in so many different areas that really matter to people in the San Fernando Valley and beyond. I serve on the Metro Board, but that committee that Bob just tried to describe, I couldn't figure out what the acronym is for it or whatever, but let me just say that you are, regardless of what that title is, you are one of the clarion voices for transportation across the San Fernando Valley. You are one of the voices that people listen to. And so as we plan the transportation future of the Valley for the next generation or two, it will have your stamp on it. So there will be people who will owe their mobility to the work that Kobe King did. In your work in the Democratic Party, there are plenty of us who share the values of the Democratic Party, many people in elected office who in a real way owe their office and their ability to serve the public to the work that you've done. I think one of the first things that we worked on together was the Protecting the Vote effort that you led. And there are people throughout our city, throughout our region, who would have been denied their constitutional rights, who would have been denied their ability to participate in our public dialogue by exercising their franchise, but for the work that you did in ensuring that every vote counts and every vote will be counted, and everyone who wants to vote and is entitled to vote will have that opportunity. That was because of you. And then most recently, of course, your work through your leadership in VICA has been invaluable in setting the Valley on the right course for economic vitality. You've had a mature, forward-looking, clear-eyed approach to helping to build a future for the Valley and to setting us on the right course. And for all of those things, I think the 2 million people who live in the San Fernando Valley and people well beyond owe you a great debt of gratitude. Congratulations.
Thank you, Councilman. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you for those kind words. Very much appreciate it. First of all, I'll start by doing the main thing I want to do today, which is embarrass my daughter by asking her to stand and be acknowledged, and the rest of my family. So, Abby, stand up. Here with Abby and Jennifer and my in-laws, Richard and Margie. As Councilman Fuentes mentioned, they have lent me out to do some of these activities, and I couldn't have done any of these things without everyone's strong support, so very, very much appreciate it. I'm only going to take 1 more minute. I do want to acknowledge, I think they're both here, while my service to VICA has been very important to me over the last couple of years, and as Councilman Krikorian and everyone actually have mentioned, I have really focused on transportation, but from my point of view, I know you interact with VICA a lot. My chairmanship was really about increasing and bettering the quality of life for the residents of San Fernando Valley and throughout the city and the state. And by focusing on transportation and economic development, that's what I sought to do. And the work will go on. As it turns out, we have with us both my successor as chairman, Kevin Tamaki. I believe he's here. There he is. Thank you, Kevin, for being here. And our first vice chair, Lisa Gritzner, as well. Lisa here. There she is. Two great friends, two stalwarts for moving the city forward. So I want to thank everyone. In particular, I want to thank Councilman Blumenfield. Has been a great colleague to work with over the years. And yes, we have a lot of work to do between now and November to make sure that the ballot measure both gives the Valley its fair share and that we manage to get the vote that's needed to put it into place. We have a lot to do. And thank you again for this honor. Very much appreciate it. Take care.
Oh, thank you very much. And I was going to say what I think everything's been said, because I was going to say some great things, but I did share those things with you before the meeting, and appreciate everything you continue to do, and your lovely family for being here as well. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to take items 1, 11, and 12 together. Item 1, 11, and 12. Juan, you have cards on 1, 11, and 12. Stay on subject. Let us know which one you're speaking on, Juan. If you can let us know on 1, 11, and 12, while you're speaking on those items, please stay on the subject matter. Thank you so much.
Well, to you, everything is being off the subject, as I understand.
On the subject.
The subject is liens upon property of the citizenry are illegal, invalid, immoral, and you create more homelessness by taking away the houses for a mere $1,288. And this person doesn't even know they got a lien. The next person, $1,200, you owe that money because the city inspector decided we need more money for City Hall. The poor guy at South Norton Avenue, wherever the hell that is, owes $1,288 just because City Hall decides that apartment dwelling is much better than living in your own place. Yeah, and let's talk about South 12th Avenue. That's in a Negro neighborhood. We can put a lien on those people and take their home without them even knowing. You know, that's what you do. For $2,000 some, you go and take away the people's housing, and then you get out there and say you want to help the homeless. That is pure bullshit. Because according to Garcetti, he got $100 million to help the homeless, and it all went to the police department to beat up on the homeless. So not everybody buys your bullshit, okay?
All right, you're not on subject. Stay on the subject.
Okay, the next subject. Lien. West Valerie Drive. Blah, blah, blah. You owe us close to $2,000, and we don't care where the hell you're going to get it. If you're out of a job, you're out of a house. Now, on the other one, 12, the city is not supposed to own any property, and you're going to sell that property to the transportation department? Wait. Aren't you violating the laws of the country? You're not supposed to own property. You are the city. Why in the hell do you keep doing illegal actions against people and then lining each other's pockets? What is wrong with you people? Buscaino, are you a little... Oh, he's not even here. Oh, Krikorian is back. That's a sad day. Okay, the other one is 11. I still have time. I'd rather go back to number 1. That's my favorite subject. Why have you put a lien on this poor person?
You've already spoken for 2 minutes on number 1, so it's 2 minutes per each item.
Oh, I see.
So I think you've already spoken on all the items, sir.
No, 11 I haven't spoken on. I know what the hell I'm talking about. You don't, because you're on another.
Don't have a conversation with me. Stick on the subject, and you'll be asked to leave.
You're not on my subject. You're not on my subject at all.
Follow the rules. We're not having a conversation. Stay on the subject matter, or you'll be asked to leave.
Okay.
That's your fair and final warning.
Number 11. We're going to get back on the subject. Number 11. Motion Wesson Martinez relative to amending. Oh, that's the one where you're going to sell the city property to somebody. Number 12. Motion Weston Price, designate. What the hell is this all about? $20 million for what? What is it? All about money? Don't you know that the federal government prints enough money to keep you guys, to give you all the money you need so you don't bother the people? Why do you keep putting up, what do you call those damn parking meters? Why do you bother everybody with parking?
He is not talking about this item or any of these items.
All right, thank you very much. Before I call up the next speaker on the next items, I know we have a lot of guests here in Chambers. By a show of hands, who's been here? Who's the first time they're here today? All right, welcome to City Hall. I want to introduce you to our First Amendment, which is a freedom of speech, which pretty much allows you to speak on virtually anything you'd like. And we wanted to give you a demonstration of that, which I believe you just had. And so we're going to afford you another opportunity of that in just a moment. But before we do, I just want to make an announcement that when Mr. Gus was rejected from council chambers, he did have a card in to speak. I didn't say that he didn't have a card in to speak. And we had not yet closed that item. Whether we open a roll or not, we still always take public comment. We're still looking for his card in the box when he was disrupting the meeting. I asked him to have a seat. I didn't say we didn't have a card. I never said he couldn't speak. Said he was disrupting the meeting, which he was. If somebody has a card in, and sometimes they are missed, they go to the sergeant-at-arms, let them know, we double-check, and we can always open an item again as well. But that was disruptive and preventative of getting the people's work done. So wanted to let folks know that and put that out on the record as well. So back to first comment cards. John Walsh on item 1, 11, and 12. Thank you so much. Please, Mr. Walsh, I know you do a good job of that, staying on the items.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems, and for identification purposes only, chairman of the Anybody But Englander for County Supervisor.
If you're not on the subject, that'll be your last warning. I've said it 5 times to you, and I've said it about 15 times during this council meeting. If you're not on subject and you want to offer editorial comments, you're going to be asked to leave. Last warning.
Number 1, hearing protests, appeals, or objections to building and safety. Again, when you do a good job, I'm the first to congratulate you. And you've got a whole bunch of liens on landlords who haven't kept their property according to code. And I'm sure that at this point they're going to start spending a lot more time working it out. Number 11. Number 11 is concerns the sale of action relative to the sale of city surplus property. The city has no surplus property, okay? When you see this, this means that that probably someone who was a developer has gone and asked the city if they can buy a piece of the city's property for practically nothing. Now, if you haven't given any contributions, they're not going to pay any attention to you. But if you've lined the pockets of the city council members, they're going to sell you city surplus property. What it usually does is fill in a piece of property that the developer needs to destroy your neighborhood, especially down there on Exposition, where they're moving the blacks out and expanding the Jewish neighborhood. Remember, that's the way they're doing it. I don't know, I'm a Jew. Number 12, this concerns revenue bonds not to exceed $20 million for 83-unit scattered sites. Well, scattered sites means one apartment here, one apartment there, called Buckingham Apartments on Ursula Avenue in Council District 10. And, of course, that's Herb Wesson. He's not here today. And the cost to the city of building a unit of low-cost housing is about twice what it costs the marketplace to do, because, it's all politics. So this is a $20 million here, $20 million there, 83 scattered sites, multifamily, a scattered site. I'm telling you right now that this thing is going to pass. They're not going to listen or talk about anything, but just you wait and hear what I have to say under public comment. HollywoodHighlands.org.
Great, thank you very much. And so on that item, okay, on item 1, we're going to go ahead and continue 1D for 2 weeks and 1K for 3 weeks. So 1D, we're going to continue it until February 5th, and 1K, February 12th. Okay, we'll go ahead and open. Oh, we've got two more cards. Sorry. Yes.
Excuse me, Mr. President. There's also a request to continue 1L for 30 days to February 23.
Okay, that'll be the order without objection. We have 2 more cards, one from Eric Previn and another one from, of course, Eric Previn on 11 and 12. Actually, just on item 11. Item 11.
Well, I thought you said 11 and 12, sir.
Yes, I stand corrected. Just right now, your card is for item 11. You only have 1 minute left.
So it was an error?
You have 1 minute left. I didn't realize you only had 1 minute left. Start his clock, please.
No,
Thank you.
Okay.
Item 11.
I have 2 minutes left, sir. But look, there's a little bit of a problem, obviously, with the meeting protocol today, sir. You okay? You okay?
You're not on the topic, sir.
No, I'm on the topic. I was signed up on 12, Mr. Krikorian. He just ejected a man during the broad
You're not on the topic.
Right.
That's
so
your fair and final warning. You are not on the topic. You're wasting the time of this meeting because you're not on the topic and following the council rules.
These are bonds for $20 million for the purposes of financing the acquisition, rehabilitation, improvement, and the equipping of the 83-unit facility called, I thought it was called Buckingham Apartments. I don't know if that's right. Please check me on that. Mr. O'Connell, was it Buckingham Apartments? I don't want to get anything wrong or be off the subject.
This is not a question and answer period. He's not on topic.
No, I am
not on topic. Okay, that's your last warning. Your time's up. Thank you very much. I've already told you 5 times. Thank you very much, sir. Now you're disrupting the meeting. Please have a seat unless you're going to continue to disrupt the meeting. And if you do so, we'll ask you to leave. Thank you very much. Okay, we'll go ahead and open the roll on 1, 11, and 12. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, thank you very much. All right, Councilmember Rue has a presentation. If we can turn our attention to Councilmember Rue for a special presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, council members. You go on the other side if you want. Today, I'm honored to recognize the individuals that make up the Pavlov Foundation. Come on, you guys can come closer. An organization that began in 2008 when Jeff and Joanne's son, Paulo, was diagnosed with a rare form of childhood cancer. Pediatric cancer remains the most deadly disease among children and teens in the United States, accounting for more lives lost than AIDS, asthma, diabetes, cystic fibrosis combined. In fact, this year alone, more than 10,000 children under the age of 15 will be diagnosed with cancer. But the disease and the lives it affects are more than just numbers. The trauma is felt by patients, parents, siblings, schoolmates, and neighbors. Jeff and Joanne immersed themselves in Pablo's treatment and took to the online world to keep friends and family up to date on his progress, to vent and to preserve the countless happy moments they had with him. Soon after his passing, the foundation was born with the mission to invest in pediatric cancer research, to inspire families through education, and to improve the lives of children living with cancer through the arts. Since 2010, the Pavlov Foundation has awarded $1 million in pediatric cancer research grants to 16 institutions worldwide. In October of last year, I was invited to the Foundation's charity bicycle ride, Pavlov Across America, a 400-mile trek from Los Angeles to San Francisco, which raised over $700,000. Yes, let's give him a round of applause. I can't commend the work and the dedication of this team enough, and I'm incredibly inspired by their mission to advocate for the health of all children. At this point, it's my pleasure to introduce Jeff Castells, the co-founder and chairman of the board. Jeff?
Thank you. On behalf of, is everybody with me here? I would encourage everybody to take a deep breath and look up at the microphone. Thank you, sir. On behalf of all the children that we represent and all the parents we represent and all the siblings that we represent in the city of Los Angeles, in the county of Los Angeles, thank you, sir. In the United States and all over the world, I thank you for this acknowledgement, and I thank you for being with us at the beginning of our ride earlier this year. The people standing behind me, starting with my wife, Joanne, who's our co-founder and is the CEO of our organization, and the staff of the Pablo Foundation work every day to do something that is very difficult, which is to bring dignity to a disease that no one signed up for, nobody did anything to get. We're talking about children. What they did to get cancer is they were born. This acknowledgement helps us in the work that we do. It acknowledges that we are here in the city of Los Angeles, in our office in Hollywood, in our home in Silver Lake where we started the foundation, because this is where our son was born and it is where he died. We stand for people who are going through pediatric cancer. We stand for people who are survivors of pediatric cancer. Some of you may be those people. Some of your friends or siblings may be those people. We've been acknowledged by the city of Lake Charles, Louisiana, by the mayor of East Baton Rouge, Louisiana. When we rode our bikes to San Francisco in October, we were acknowledged by the honorary mayor of Solvang, California. Los Angeles is the big kahuna, and we really appreciate this. Some of you may find this topic very difficult to look at, and there's a good reason for that, because seeing a child suffering, there's no words for that. You are all charged with a very difficult task dealing with people's unkempt lawns, real estate issues, issues of public parks and development and the like. We've heard a lot of it here today. These are all very worthy topics. We believe that children should be able to be born and live healthy lives and grow up to be adults. That's what we believe. We believe this in Los Angeles. This is a city of great dreams, and we need the support of the city government, the county, the federal government, private citizens who would donate $1 to us or substantially more to help our endeavors. We are real people who live in this city, who pay taxes, and the acknowledgement that we are receiving today makes us feel very good. What we want is we want to be seen so that we can help other people that may never be seen, who may not have voices. In my last 15 seconds, I would like to say that on a local level, through our Pavlov Shutterbugs photography program, we support a community that looks exactly like the community that you all support and represent. People from one end of the spectrum to the other, every ethnic and economic background. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Rue, very much for bringing them forward as well.
You know, and it's an amazing event. I mean, it's not just the money that they raise, but the amount of people that come out at Griffith Park where they start the ride. I am so privileged to have known the organization and have attended, and I look forward to going again and again. And with that said, on behalf of the Los Angeles City Council, my colleagues, I'd love to present this presentation to the proclamation of the Pavlov Foundation to Jeff and Joanne. Thank you for all your hard work.
All right, another round of applause. Thank you. Mr. Koretz, we're going to go ahead and turn it over to you next for a special presentation as well.
Well, sadly, my legislative deputy, Kate Hennigan Ohanesian, has served the city of Los Angeles for 12 years and is now going to leave my office. She first joined the city of Los Angeles and the LA family in 2004, working for Cindy Mizakowski right out of college. She also served as a field deputy and planning director for Councilmember Jack Weiss in CD5. And Planning and Land Use Deputy for Councilmember Eric Garcetti in the 13th District, and is Senior Policy Director in the Office of Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa. And since July 2013, I've been fortunate that she's been working with me, and we were lucky to have her. She was first my Westwood Field Deputy and Economic Development Director, and she played a key role in advancing the economic vitality of Westwood and in bringing together key Westwood leaders in business, merchant, property development, civic and residential communities, and forging consensus on key projects. She's known for her extensive knowledge of city government and her ability to navigate through the corridors of City Hall and eliminate red tape. In more recent times, she has been my legislative deputy and legislative director. I and Kate's fellow staffers and her appreciative constituents, unfortunately, we're not the only people to take note of her fine abilities as a public servant, and so she was recruited by Sorrell Associates as a director of public affairs in its much lauded land use development team, where we know she'll be a valuable addition to one of the best public affairs firms around, founded by my old friend Joe Sorrell. Kate has been a devoted public servant and a loving member of her cherished family, a loving wife, a loyal friend, a devotee of spa days, a wearer of all things Tony Birch, and a dyed-in-the-wool Hello Kitty lover. And we'll forgive her for those things. We wish you much success in dealing with your new challenges, and we'll miss you and wish you all the best. So, thank you.
Should I say a couple
Yeah, you can say a couple.
Mr. O'Farrell.
Sitting here thinking I might be the only one around this horseshoe that was actually a colleague of yours when we both were on the staff of Eric Garcetti. And for the better part of a couple of years, we collaborated on so much together. I want to think maybe that was 2010 through 2012, something like that. And how great it always was working with you. And I'll never forget your desk with things piled this high, because you had so many things going. But you were very effective and always good with all the constituents, and so I'm sure that you've been a real asset for Mr. Koretz and his team for these past 2+ years, and you'll be a real asset for Sorrell and Associates. So my hat's off to you, Kate. Congratulations, and we'll be seeing you around probably just as much as we do now, and we look forward to that. Congratulations.
All right, Mr. Wesson.
Members, and first, Mr. Koretz, I thank you for allowing some of us the opportunity to say just a couple of words about someone that we care about deeply. I've had the opportunity to watch her work for everybody that you mentioned and watch her mature and to watch her grow. You will be missed, but I tell you one thing, without pause, I know that you're going to be very successful. But thank you for, and plus, you should also know, Paul, she's the one person that we could talk to when you were doing your kind of way out type of things. So I would go to her so that I could have a conversation and use her to try to bring you down from cloud nine. But we wish you the best, and we know that you're going to be successful. And I know that Mr. Koretz is going to miss you tremendously.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. Well, first, thank you to the council member, and I just wanted to thank all the council members, past and present, for the tireless hours you all spend making Los Angeles the greatest city to work in. Especially want to thank Council Member Koretz, who I can say is the most dedicated, kind-hearted, honest, and real public servant I have known. And I feel so fortunate to have served such a great man and mentor. And I'll miss my fellow council staffers immensely, and we'll always remember standing behind our bosses' chairs and chatting and sharing information, and you're all truly the best. And I'm so excited for my new adventure at Sorrel, but will always remember where I came from and be forever grateful. And what we do is really hard, and I couldn't have done it what I've done all these years without the support of my amazing mom, who's also been a public servant all of her life, and the support of my loving husband, John. And I just want to thank you all, and I love you all, and I'll miss you all madly, and thank you.
And congratulations again. Thank you. And good luck. With that, colleagues, we're going to go ahead and turn our attention to the special agenda if we can. Madam Clerk?
Blumenfield, Bonin, Buscaino, Cedillo, Englander, Fuentes, Heristason, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson, 12 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
Great, thank you very much. And with that, we do have a pretty tight quorum and a couple of members excused. So we're going to go ahead and go to public comment for 1 minute each. Mr. Walsh?
And excuse me, Mr. President, item 13 is an item for which public hearings have not been held, and 10 votes are required for consideration.
All right, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. This is an emergency meeting. This is a separate meeting. It might not feel like it, but it is. This is because Nuri Martinez, who's under FBI investigation according to the LA Times, and
you're not on the subject. Not on the subject.
To improving an extension of time for 3 proposed projects, and then there's the address on Arminta Street. And what this means is that the project has run out of time and has run out of money. And what's happening here is that Ms. Martinez...
Not on the subject.
...is bailing out the maker of the motion. Ms. Martinez is bailing out the contractor. That's what's happening here, despite the heckling.
Come on up. Stay on the subject.
Well, Mr. Welch has expressed my sentiments. He was on the subject, and the guy behind the pulpit over there didn't like his comments, so he says
You're not on the subject matter? That I've already warned you 3 times, and I've warned you before. That's your final warning. One more,
Okay.
and you're disturbing this meeting. You'll be asked to leave the chambers, not just give up your time. You've been warned many times.
If I keep speaking, I have to leave the chamber?
If you're not on the subject. Last warning. Now you're not speaking. You're just wasting the time, and that's sorry. It's the same thing. So go ahead and have a seat. Thank you. All right, that concludes that item. I will go ahead and open the roll on item 13. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
And that'll be sent forthwith without objection. That'll be the order. Thank you very much. And that'll conclude the special agenda and return to the regular meeting. All right, so we're now at general public comment. If we can please ask Lorna Paisley, followed by Jacqueline Richardson, to come on up. 1 minute each. Thank you.
Okay. This is about the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This council is acting like a council that cares more about a port where cheap junk from foreign countries with slave labor can come in than its own people. Every free trade agreement has cost jobs. We have lost millions of jobs, and no jobs mean more homeless and more crime, which are already increasing in L.A. Deborah James, who is a historian on free trade, says each agreement gives corporations more power and we lose more democracy. The press and council stay quiet on the TPP. In spite of the council's lack of concern, there are people in the city who do care, and they are having a rally February 3rd at 11 starting at the LA World Trade Center. Please help us stop the Trans-Pacific Partnership. It is going to destroy our democracy and everything good we have in this country. There's a report from the Taft University, and I would like the council members each to get a copy. Please, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Previn, please come forward. Mr. Walsh, Mr. Akala, followed by Brian Barajas.
Yes, it's Eric Previn from CD2. Sir, while you were away, a very upsetting thing happened to Mr. Gus. Mr. Englander felt he was being disruptive and ejected him from the meeting, and it was all over a mistaken card. Let's make some changes going forward. The LAPD should not be handling these cards because they're busy guarding public safety. Let's get someone from the city clerk's office to handle the cards going forward so we won't have as many errors. There have been a lot of errors. He made another error today, too. But the big error is in judgment in concluding that by sitting in that chair, you can simply smote people from speaking or block people from bringing their views. It's completely unthinkable, and the more you push against it, the more the public will come back with cogent remarks about how improper that is, sir. It is just not okay. And we are turning to you, a civil rights leader, to bring forward a change, okay? Mr. Englander is not doing that anymore. It's not proper. It's totally out of line. And you do it too, sir, to be fair. But that's not really today. So I
Thank
can't
you.
criticize
Thank you very much. So who's next? Mr. Walsh? And do we have Ms. Richardson or did Ms. Paisley already speak? Okay. So, Mr. Walsh.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org. Now, we've had people come up here and say, you're under FBI investigation. But they didn't have any proof. Well, I'm saying right now, you are under, City Council is under FBI investigation. Where's your proof? My proof is the LA Times. Nuri Martinez is under FBI investigation. She's not here. She's looking for a good criminal lawyer. The bogus campaign contributions, some as small as $5 or $10. The FBI has handed it over to the federal grand jury, and the federal grand jury is examining, and the investigation is spreading. And Anybody but Englander for supervisor to replace Antonovich? Anybody but Englander. We're going to make sure that this is his last political job.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Akala, Mr. Barajas, and do we have Miss Richardson? Okay. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Akala.
Correct me if I get off the subject, okay? Which is no subject at all. Therefore, I cannot get off the subject. Ha ha. City attorney, you're back. You had a substitute for a while that looked a lot better than you. Anyway, I'm running for U.S. Congress, and I'm asking for City Hall contributions. I need $3,400 so I don't have to get 10,000 signatures. That is how you do it in government. You help each other get elected. You get contributions for one another. Well, now I need contributions. Englander, I'm talking to you. Open up your ears.
Thank you, Mr. Baraja, Mr. City Attorney.
And just if we could remind the speakers, they are not allowed to solicit funds in City Hall.
No, just come on, Mr. Akala, your time is up. Come on, Mr. Barajas, followed by Ms. Richardson.
I turned in a leaflet. I think this might upset a few aristocrats. Bertrand Russell was wrong. Human creativity can overcome this crisis. Now, what does that mean? You're not going to solve the crisis by some formula of mathematics. And I know that the power to create the future is what is called for. Humanity right now needs to lead from the standpoint that we need to change the dynamics that are operating in people's heads, which are wrong. We have to create a principle, not from a logical formula, but a principle that we need to triumph in such a way that would annihilate the enemies of mankind. Being practical will get you killed. When I say to throw Obama out, Glass-Steagall now, it has to happen.
Thank you. So if we could have, please come forward. It's now your turn.
The marriage rate is approximately 37%. It used to be 97%. Too many people, including those who have 3 wives, live in common law relationships which do not have a marriage license. This is not legal in the state of California. Both white and black have 3 wives. This is not this is contrary to the Mosaic commandment, don't commit adultery. Some people do not know it takes a marriage license in order to be legally married. Most of the people who don't know this are immigrants and some Americans. The people who don't know they need a marriage license to be married also don't know they need a divorce decree to marry someone else. If they don't, they're in bigamy and subject to be arrested. If they have more than one wife legally, they're subject to bigamy and subject to arrest. They don't know that.
Thank you. What's, Madam Clerk, before this body?
Council has motions for posting and referral.
Okay, they are posted. They are referred. Announcements. Members' announcements. If not, Mr. Blumenfield.
Great. I have an announcement. This weekend, we're doing the second Sherman Way Concept Public Planning Workshop and the third Community Annual Bike Ride in my district. We've done this great bike ride every year. We get a couple hundred people. We go through the streets on the bike paths. It all starts at 9 o'clock at 18238 Sherman Way in the rear parking lot of Magnolia Science Academy. You can come for the bike ride from 9:30 to 10:30. You could come to the workshop from 10:30 to 12, or you can come to both. And a little because we're talking about hockey and as part of the exciting things that are potentially happening in Reseda, the LA Kings are setting up a little bit of a street hockey thing as well for folks who want to test their skills a little bit. So come one, come all. It's going to be a great time and a great bike ride.
Thank you. Mr. O'Farrell.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow, the 23rd of January, we're going to do one of my monthly walks, and it's in a neighborhood of need in Hollywood, and we meet tomorrow morning at 9:30 at the YWCA. The address is 1215 Lodi Place, and we will be doing not just a community walk where we knock on doors and provide resources for constituents to access when they need city services, but also we'll be doing cleanups and graffiti paint outs in a several block area. And we do this once a month, and tomorrow morning, as I mentioned, we meet at the YWCA. There will be refreshments and coffee. We encourage everyone to get involved and participate and go door to door with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more announcements? If I could have everyone in the council chambers please rise for adjourning motions. I'd like to look to Mr. Mitch Englander, if you'd start us off.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's with great sadness that I adjourn in memory of Richard Barger, who passed away this Sunday. Originally born in Los Angeles, Dick grew up in Indiana. He had obtained a bachelor's degree from Indiana University and a law degree from the University of Southern California. He was active as president of the California Junior Bar Association and a member of the Delta Tau Delta fraternity. Early in his career, he caught the eye of then Governor Ronald Reagan, who appointed Dick to be his insurance commissioner in 1968. While serving as a commissioner, Dick was elected president of the National Association of Insurance Commissioners, putting him at the very pinnacle of the United States insurance industry. Although Governor Reagan reappointed him, he chose to leave the Department of Insurance in 1972 to join private law practice. This marked the beginning of a very successful legal career. In 1976, he joined his friend and law partner, Alan Wolin, to form Barger & Wolin, a law firm that became one of the leading insurance and regulatory law boutiques in the nation. He remained active in the firm until his passing. Dick loved mentoring young people to help them succeed. He coached his 3 sons in Little League and also acted as scoutmaster for Troop 355, where each of his sons earned the rank of Eagle Scout, like their father, who he himself was an Eagle. He's survived by his wife, Mary Jane, his children, Richards, James, another James, John, and his daughter, Catherine, who is also a dear friend. His 3 grandchildren, James, Christopher, and Sophia. He was a legend here. Many knew him. He's done a lot, and his memory will live on, his legacy certainly, in all of us. So thank you so much. We adjourn in his honor. Thank you.
Okay, I'll continue to look to my left side. Any more adjourning motions? I'm now looking to my right. Mr. Koretz.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to adjourn in memory of Alice Sylvester, who was born Alice Kornreich in 1923 to a Jewish-Hungarian family in Mukasevo, Czechoslovakia, a town in the Carpathian Mountains, which later became Hungary and then part of the Ukraine. She had a happy childhood surrounded by friends and relatives, but at age 21, her entire family was sent by the Nazis to Auschwitz, along with all the Jews in Mukasevo. Most of the townspeople there in Auschwitz were murdered there. Alice and her mother, who'd been interrogated personally by the infamous Angel of Death, Joseph Mengele, were sent to the showers at one point, but miraculously survived when the equipment that supplied the lethal gas malfunctioned and couldn't be repaired in a timely manner. As the Nazis retreated back into Germany under pressure from advancing Soviet forces, Alice and her mother and some 60,000 others were moved in the infamous January 1945 Death March. Alice and her mother survived that as well and eventually were liberated. After the war, she and her mother emigrated to the U.S., reunited with her brother Andy, who was also a Holocaust survivor. Remarkably, only her father perished in the Holocaust. She moved to New York, married, and had a son. After a divorce, she became an X-ray technician and raised her son as a single mother. In the 70s, she moved to Los Angeles, ending up in West Hollywood, where she remarried twice and continued working in the medical field. Ultimately, she ended up living on Wilshire Boulevard near Westwood in the 5th Council District. After years of refusing to talk about her horrific Holocaust experiences, Alice began volunteering at the Simon Wiesenthal Center, where she began telling her story to visitors. She later appeared on several television shows and was interviewed by Steven Spielberg's Shoah Foundation, created in conjunction with his making of the film Schindler's List, to make sure the stories of Holocaust survivors are available in perpetuity. In later years, Ms. Sylvester performed a mitzvah by adopting a dog, Sammy, from a shelter where he was within a day of being euthanized. She recognized the symbolic connection between her own survival and Sammy's and pledged that he would live out a full natural life. And her son is now fulfilling that pledge. Alice Sylvester died on Monday, January 18th, a few days shy of her 93rd birthday, from the effects of an extended battle with dementia, which was able to do what the Nazis couldn't. She is survived by her son, who most of us know, Larry Gross, known at City Hall for his work with the Coalition for Economic Survival and as an Animal Services Commissioner, and her daughter-in-law, Mimi Strauss.
I'm still looking to my right. Any more adjourning motions? I don't see any. Members, this council meeting is adjourned.